What's going on, everybody? The Island Ricks TV back with another video, and in today's video we'll be discussing the Lakers loss to the Boston Celtics. The Lakers fall short to the Boston Celtics 108 to the Boston Celtics 130. And early on in the game, the Lakers started off. They had a great start. It seems as though that the Boston Celtics had a little struggle. They had a really slow start, and the Lakers had gained the lead. They were up by a pretty wide margin, not that wide, but Marcus Smart did a good job at being able to, be aggressive and, drive to the lane and be able to get, and ones and get foul calls. And, he was kind of like trying to swing the momentum, and he was able to keep the game close enough for the Boston Celtics to at least give themselves a fighting chance throughout the game. Now, what do you know? Like, what a surprise. And I was just watching and I'm like, man, like, would you ever think that, who would have ever thought that Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Smart would be such a good tandem and they would be giving the Lakers fits? Like, no one would ever think that, and Doris Burke, that's one I would like to, before I finish giving my assessment and, discussing what I seen tonight from the Los Angeles Lakers. None of that is important. I would like to say this because I wrote this on Facebook, and I gotta say what I was, I gotta read to you guys what I was saying on Facebook. So I said, Doris Burke not having a coaching job in the NBA is beyond me. Beyond me, right? Because as I watched the game tonight, I said her basketball IQ and assessment of the game is just beyond insane. She breaks the game down so beautifully, so perfectly, like so perfect. And I bet she would be able to coach her butt off in the league. So amazing. I said that I definitely wish that everybody else could hear the way she was calling the game. And I love basketball. Like, I'm a huge student of the game. I love basketball. I'm just getting back into basketball. I kind of like lost the love for the game. But, everything she was saying was just coming to life on the floor. And in every sequence, you was just seeing it all just transpire and take place. So she did such a phenomenal job. And I just think that she deserves a coaching job. I don't say an NBA, maybe WNBA, but, I'm not a huge advocate of women being in men's sports. However, she does a phenomenal job of calling a game and just breaking down everything on the floor. And the Lakers need a coach. Honestly, the Lakers need a coach. And I think Doris Burke might be the best candidate, in my honest opinion. But back to the game, the Lakers stink. They stink really bad. Once again, I'm going to get into Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook and LeBron and Anthony Davis last. But you seen when Wayne Ellington came in the game, he's not getting that many minutes in the rotation. So he's struggling to get a rhythm, so he's not getting enough minutes. And then with LeBron James been in there, and then they're giving Carmelo Anthony more minutes than Wayne Ellington. When Wayne Ellington is a little bit younger than Carmelo Anthony, and, you have to get him going and get his rhythm going because he's, elevated his game a little bit, in terms of, being a lot more relentless out there and, being able to be more consistent at taking those 3-point shots, in games. So with Carmelo Anthony, it's like, he might have a good game and he might just go out there and just, be on a scoring tear. And then on some nights, it's just like he's inconsistent. You never know. It's just like, and he's slow, as Doris Burke pointed out tonight. A lot of teams see Carmelo Anthony, even though he may have been, revitalized his, scoring ability or just getting back to where he was as a scoring threat. However, teams, as Shaq would say, barbecue chicken, they will go at Carmelo Anthony because they know defensively he can't keep up with, a lot of these younger players. The Lakers were they was having trouble being able to keep guys in front of them and, you know, being able to, like, playing on the ball. A lot of the players were beating them off the dribble. And LeBron James couldn't beat players off the dribble. And tonight, I was kind of proud of LeBron James. I'll say this. I gained respect at least taking over, at least, you know, trying to take over. That's as much credit I give LeBron James, you know, because everything that's happening with the Lakers is LeBron James' fault because he's signing off on all the decisions being made for the Lakers. All the trades, everything, the players, the signings, all of this is falling solely on LeBron James, so he can't complain. I do agree that the Lakers should have got a lot of foul calls tonight. You know, the referees, I mean, rightfully so. They're in the TD Garden. They don't have home court advantage, so it makes perfect sense. But, you know, Enes Kanter did a great job at setting screens. Al Horford, you know, every time his number was called, he made sure that he hit the shots that was necessary, that needed to be hit. Jason Tatum played at an elite level tonight. And his form, like Jason Tatum and Ray Allen have the best shooting forms in the NBA that I've ever seen in my life. It's like every shot has a high chance of going in. So just watching him tonight, just being able to ease his way through the basket, ease his way through the lane, and it was like everything was just coming in like naturally. Everything was patience with the Boston Celtics. Nothing was rushed. Marcus Smart, it seemed like he shoot the ball very hard with a lot of knuckle, but it seems as though he shoots the ball a lot with a much more softer touch. You know, like I said, Jason Tatum has been in the weight room. Just different things that I'm seeing with this Boston Celtics team. They, as a unit, as a whole, they do a great job at just, you know, sticking together for one. And you see a lot of flow within the offense, a lot of space and a lot of ball movement, you know. And I think Brad Stevens did a great job by just, you know, stepping back and allowing someone else to be in that position. And he did a great job. They're coming along really good. As far as the Lakers need to gut the entire team. The whole system is built around LeBron James. So for Anthony Davis was just settling for a lot of just pulling up and just shooting. You know, he wasn't attacking, going to the rim and getting to the free throw line. And I was just kind of like, I'm just disappointed with the Lakers, man. And, you know, LeBron James, it was a sequence where LeBron James got fouled at the three-point line. I felt like he should have went to the line and been able to shoot those threes, but he was frustrated. But it's just mind-boggling to me of a lot of the things that LeBron James can get away with that others can't. Like when I seen him, you know, go for a layup, I think, and he got fouled, and he pointing at the ref and, you know, like, you should have made this call, blah, 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 pointing at both refs. I'm like, man, anybody else would have either got tossed or they would have got a technical foul. Man, it's just mind-boggling to me at the amount of stuff that he's able to get away with and you know, the power that he has throughout the league. It's sad, honestly. But yeah, man, and this, like I said, it's a LeBron James system, so the entire system is geared around LeBron James. Russell Westbrick, I think from the three-point line, he went like 1 for 6, and it was just, he can't shoot the three. And everything that I've been saying, you guys are starting to see. It's almost like you guys don't, it's like y'all running away from the truth, and y'all running to these sites and these platforms and these videos, these people, these so-called sports analysts who is just going, you know, not give it to you guys raw. Like, they're going to tell y'all what y'all want to hear, and they're going to tiptoe around everything opposed to just giving y'all the full truth. And it's almost like they use the algorithms to try to silence me in my videos. But it's the honest truth. But at the end of the day, people going to always go back to, you know, what's real, honestly. As you guys can see, I got my Kobe Bryant hoodie on, you know. Kobe Bryant hoodie, you feel me? I got the Kobe Bryant hoodie, you feel me? But like I said, man, Russell Westbrook, he's a nightmare waiting to happen. You know, he makes terrible, horrible decisions, horrible decision making, which is why you want the ball out of his hands down the stretch. They did a great job before Russell Westbrook started to make horrible decisions. They would let Russell Westbrook kind of like take over, and he would go right to the post and, you know, back his opponents and play with his back to the basket and create, which was good until, you know, because he was going at Jason Tatum and getting by Jason Tatum until they made a defensive switch and put Marcus Smart on him. And Marcus Smart was being able, you know, he's able to move his feet, you know, really well and keep his defenders in front of him and slide on defense. So they was able to tame Russell Westbrook and force the ball out of his hands. And, you know, they was forcing the Lakers to take some tough shots. So their defense, they stepped up on defense, on the defensive end, the Boston Celtics, that is. The Lakers' defense is horrible, the switching. And it's just, as I said, Frank Vogel should have been fired. The Lakers just need to start over because, like I said, LeBron James is hindering the Lakers, you know, potential to be a great team. And everything is centered around LeBron James. So when LeBron James is able to come back and find a rhythm and be able to, you know, play his game, and everybody else could struggle because there's no plays being ran. It's just blacktop basketball, and LeBron can come back and ease his way in and have a good game and get his numbers up. But everybody else a struggle, and LeBron James will get the praise, and everybody keeps saying LeBron James needs help. But tonight, it's a lot to take away from this game. The Lakers, they need to either cut Carmelo Anthony or they need to convince him to retire. At this point, honestly, I don't think there's nothing that the Lakers could do in order to fix this situation other than gut the entire team, just, you know, deal with, because any trade is not going to help the Lakers at this point because they're so old and LeBron James is old. You have to construct and build your offense around LeBron James at this point, you know, because he's the star and a centerpiece of your franchise. However, when your centerpiece is in his 19th season and he can't beat defenders off the dribble, he can't rely on his athleticism like he did when he was in his prime and in his youth, then, like, even tonight, LeBron James tried to, you know, drive past a defender and end up losing the ball. Like, they didn't even, you know, put their hands on the ball, attempt to steal it. He just lost it because he's old, you know, and these defenders, they're going to fly right past him and they're going to attack him. I'm trying to think of what else I miss, you know, and that's another thing I want to that's another thing I want to touch on before I end this video. You know, it almost just seems as though you keep hearing the media with these talking points, and it's almost like the Lakers are hoping, and it's like they're praying that Trevor Ariza and Kendrick Nunn are going to be the savior once they come back. Nothing is going to help the Lakers right now, even the coaching change. They need to fire Frank Vogel, however, which is what LeBron James wants, because I think he wants David Fizdale to step in and be the head coach. However, there's nothing that they could do to really fix the Lakers right now, you know, and Kendrick Nunn, they're not difference makers. Trevor Ariza, he's too old.